After a 6-year hiatus, the UK welcomes FIA Karting back to a circuit situated near the county border of Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire, PF International. The reason for the return, the 2024 edition of the FIA Karting World Championships for the OK categories. Karting fans from all four corners of Great Britain have descended on PFI, celebrating its 30th year as the premier circuit in the nation, in conjunction with the 60th anniversary of the very first CIK FIA World Championship held in 1964. Not since the 2018 European Championships has FIA Karting raced here, the last time a World Championships held at PFI being the year prior. With 250 drivers from all parts of the globe, the paddock is bustling with excitement, with everyone here to find out who'll be World Champion for 2024 in both the OK and OK Junior categories. Alongside OK and OK Junior, whose European Championship campaigns finished back in August, the OKN category joins the action on track with the inaugural FIA Karting OKN World Cup, offering a new, accessible route into the top level of direct drive karting. And that's not all. The sounds and smells of karting's glorious past are present in the form of the historics. With the pomp and circumstance befitting of a World Championship, the drivers are set to battle it out, knowing this is their one and only opportunity in the karting season to claim victory in the title of World Champion. It's time to go racing for one last time in the 2024 FIA Karting OK season. It's the World Championship at PF International. Let's take a lap round PF International with Daniel Ginchard. Starting with the pit straight, speed to an excess of 120 kph into the Bruno Ferrari S's. Right then left, sweeping under the Lichfield Bridge before entering into the long banked left-hander of turn 3. A key part of the lap is going over the Lichfield Bridge, especially the off-camber dipping turn 5, where overtaking is possible but tricky to execute well. The biggest braking zone around this 1.382 kilometre circuit can be found at hairpin 1. Next up, hairpin 2, another good overtaking and counter-attacking opportunity. The exit of the left-hander is important for the speed taken into the second half of the circuit that starts with the Fullerton S's. Handling is key from here for the rest of the lap. Into Bobby Game corner, the curb on driver's left is ready to catch out the unwary. Next, the Mike Wilson Complex, named after the 6-time world champion. 4 of PFI's 15 corners come in quick succession. Pit bend ends the lap as a 90-degree right-hander where exit speed is vital. It's a roller coaster lap with a high average speed here in Lincolnshire. The inaugural OKN World Cup took centre stage to start proceedings at PF International, with 26 drivers from 14 nations looking to put their name in the history books as the first ever World Cup winner for the new class. Time qualifying and 3 qualifying heats had preceded the final, with the Republic of Korea's Kyo Lee emerging on pole position for Beyond Racing Team. However, rain fell after the third and final heat, presenting the drivers with untested wet conditions for the final. It was anyone's guess as to who would be victorious. Drama began before the final had even got going. Due to start on the front row, Hugo Hauron of France span out of the pits on cold tyres. Several others faltered on the formation laps, including the Cypriot duo of Michalis Ivanglou and Marilyn Antonio. With the race underway, Lee took an early lead ahead of Zsombor Kovacs of Hungary. All drivers through the first few corners, but with all other OKN sessions earlier in the weekend in dry conditions, it would be a journey into the relative unknown. The early laps saw 8 drivers retire, including South Africa's Cole Hewitson and Uruguay's Matilda Itzkovic. Heitor Farias of Brazil made a good start from 15th on the grid, soon up into the top 5. Ricardo Rossi also on the move, as the banking proved troublesome for many. Michael Bezuidenhout, the latest to watch from the sidelines on lap 5, along with one of the favourites, Great Britain's Thomas Min-Spearing. Farias continued his progress, the Brazilian up to 3rd by the end of lap number 5. Enzo Prando and Francesco Rossi went wheel to wheel through the treacherous Bruno Ferrari S's as Kyo Lee built his lead at the very front of the field. Further down the order, Simon Levente and Alan Truxer were involved in a fierce battle for what at the time was 9th place, the two of them going back and forth for several laps. The rain had stopped though, meaning all drivers now had to deal with the challenge of tyre management, especially with the threat of more rain. PF International's reputation for unpredictable weather proving as difficult a prospect as staying on the track. By the halfway stage of the race, Kyo Lee was in a commanding position. He built his lead beyond 5 seconds, unfazed by the lack of grip out on track. Gino Rocchio had found a way through the attrition to sit in second place, and the fast-starting Farias was holding third. However, Jean-Paul Kovacs' pace was improving as the conditions out on track continued to change. Lap 13 and Simon Levente was now in a fight for 11th place with Gabriel Kafka. This was before the rain came back with a vengeance though, catching several drivers out. Madagascar's Razafindrat Simba finding hairpin 1 too slippery to handle, unable to get going again. There was also trouble for Italy's Francesco Marenghi, spinning out from the top 5 position. He'd be joined on the scene by Yang Lang, who lost control out of the Fullerton S's on lap 15. Setup variance proved critical. The rain coming down played into the hands of Kovacs, whose gamble on more precipitation meant he caught and overtook Farias. Both would be back in the podium positions as more retirements followed. Gerardo Peralta the next to go, along with Gino Rocchio in second place. Only 10 drivers remain in the race, but the destination of the inaugural OKN World Cup Winners' Trophy was anything but decided. Kovacs was tearing into Lee's advantage, at times 1.5 seconds a lap quicker. But Lee held on and became the first ever winner of the FIA Karting OKN World Cup. A deserving winner after the strong pace he'd had in the dry conditions through the qualifying heats and the calmness at the wheel in the challenging conditions of the final. In the end, it was Lee's fast start that was the pivotal phase of the race. Had it not been for the advantage built in the first half, Kovacs would have been sure to find a way through as the Hungarian had achieved against others. The results then in OKN's first World Cup final. Kyo Lee wins from Jean-Paul Kovacs, with Heitor Farias completing the podium. Federico Rossi took 4th ahead of timed qualifying's fastest driver Harrison Whitcomb, Volley, Truxa and Yildirim completing the select group of only 8 classified finishers. A successful first OKN World Cup finished with the presentation of the trophies. Farias, Kovacs and Lee with their names forever etched in FIA karting history. The conditions doing nothing to dampen the spirits on the podium.
It feels so great, and I'm so happy to be stand middle of the podium, and also to be a first winner of OKN World Cup. Just really happy about it, and I cannot say thanks to my Beyond Racing team and everybody who helped me. Yeah, the win is win. It's really happy about it. After it started to rain a bit, it was really tricky, but I started to adapt to go more faster, and then I tried to hold it on until the end.
Yeah, actually the rain helped us during when it started to rain. That was a big part of the game to arrive to the leader, because we were quite like wet sprocket as well, maybe even over the limit. So I was struggling a lot in the first 6 or 8 laps, and then when in the middle of the race it started to rain, then I had a big chance, so I tried to use that. Obviously, if we have one more lap, for sure, I'll try to do something, but it was 22 laps, and this is what was enough for.
It was amazing feeling. Like, I have to pass a lot of guys. In the beginning, I was very fast when was drying, and I had the pace. Like all the weekend, I didn't had this fast. I wasn't this fast, and in the last race I was, and I could pass the guys. I could manage to do it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it feels fantastic. Obviously, it's been quite a journey with my small team. I'm very lucky that the Ekman's team has entrusted me with one of their drivers this weekend to do the World Cup. It's just generally been fun. We had 2 drivers in the race, and also Cole, the other driver that I had, was also fast in the dry, which unfortunately didn't finish in the wet conditions. But no, in general, just fantastic feeling. You work for these moments, don't you? It's something you can't describe. I'm sure when I'm sitting in the van, always smiling on the way home. So yeah, fantastic.
OK Juniors 2024 European Championship started in Valencia, with Dries van Langedonk winning round 1. The Belgian was pipped to the line at Val d'Argenton by Jacopo Martinezzi for the second round, before striking back in Slovakia for his second victory of the season. 2023 World Championship runner-up Christian Costoya took the final round in Kristianstad, but with second place Van Langendonk had added the European title to the 2023 World title. The Belgians' move up to the OK category meant the competition was wide open for 119 drivers, whittled down to 36 for the final, featuring a mix of familiar faces and British wildcards. Nicholas Schaufler started the final on pole position alongside Kenzo Craigie. 19 laps ahead of the drivers to decide this year's OK Junior World Championship. Heavy rain mere moments before the final meant it was wet Max's tyres for all. As with OKN, there was drama on the formation lap. Harrison Mackie, due to start 6th, was out before the start, meaning 35 drivers saw the lights go out. An even start between Schaufler and Craigie, as everyone struggled for grip and a clear line of sight and spray. Jack Iliff was the first to succumb to the conditions, his Forza racing kart spinning out of control and into the grass. Others in trouble on lap 1 included Alfie Slater at the Litchfield Bridge, as well as Drew Waltz and Jesse Phillips, whose unscheduled cutting of the course at Hairpin 1 would see their races nullified. Casper Reipolt's final went as far as Hairpin 1, having started at the back. Panama's Gianmatteo Russo would also be out one corner later. Lap 2 and Schaufler had the lead ahead of Noah Baglin, but not for long. Friday's pole sitter fighting his way through, Baglin's lightning pace from TQ had clearly translated into the storm over PF. Boris Lysen's bright season for Sodikart would end in the gloom at Hairpin 2. Schaufler tried on occasion to move past Baglin in the Mike Wilson complex, but he was unsuccessful in regaining the lead. Lap 4 and Christian Costoya's hopes of going one better than Franciacorta 2023 ended in the wall, promptly joined by Jarrett Clark, another retirement for Forza Racing. Tony Kart's Scott Marsh and Card Republic's Arjen Kraling fought over a spot in the top 10 on the 6th lap of the race, as Phillips' day ended having been shown the black flag for his earlier shortcut. Lap 10 and Craigie went on the attack to pass Schaufler for second place into Hairpin 1. First attempt, not quite successful, Schaufler able to find the grip on the cutback. Second attempt, mission achieved with a move onto the Litchfield Bridge. The front runners needed to keep an eye on Kid Bolofsky, another Briton driving well in the wet, and up to 4th place. Disaster would strike moments later, Bolofsky into the rear right of Schaufler, sending the Austrian into a spin at the Mike Wilson complex. The Austrian now realistically out of contention for the podium. The incident would be referred to the race stewards and investigated post-race. Bolofsky handed a 10-second time penalty for his part. British wildcard Riley Cranham would fall on lap 13 after a valiant World Championships for Sodikart. Lap 15 and Prema Racing sat 1-2, Baglin from Craigie. Craigie pushing on, nearly losing control over the painted lines as he went down the pit straight. Rocco Coronel's final heroics were on show again for Victory Lane. The Dutchman in a duel with the driver top of the standings on Saturday, Ricky Flynn Motorsports' Roman Kamiab. Their battle through the Mike Wilson complex entertaining the hardy British karting fans watching in the downpour. There were a total of 16 drivers not classified. DPK's Bosco Arias, one of them, retiring 5 laps from the end. A final lap showdown between the Premas was in store, Craigie once again nearly losing control on the pit straight. Having attacked into Hairpin 1, Craigie got his nose ahead into Hairpin 2, but ran wide, allowing Baglin to get back into the lead as the drivers approached the Fullerton S's. More attacks were guaranteed. Next into Bobby Game Corner, both drivers running wide this time. Craigie had the lead for the first time in the final going into the Mike Wilson complex, but the battle between the two Britons wasn't over. Contact going into the last corner of the last lap saw Baglin out and in the wall at pits bend. Kenzo Craigie across the line, and in breathtaking circumstances, provisionally the new OK Junior World Champion. Baglin, furious with the outcome, had seen his spot on the podium disappear. Australia's James Anagnostiadis up to 3rd meant provisionally it was still 2 Prema drivers on the rostrum. Baglin had slipped all the way down to 21st. The stewards ruling, no consolation for the World Championships debutant, that the clash was a racing incident, meaning Craigie was confirmed the winner. The final result, Bolofsky's penalty and a disqualified Schaufler meant the World Championship top 3 for 2024 was Kenzo Craigie of Great Britain from James Anagnostiadis and Rocco Coronel. Bolofsky drops to 4th ahead of highest wildcard Zach Green in 5th. Krutalov, Marsh, Kraling, Mintz and Solfikari complete the top 10. Relief for Kenzo Craigie, the new OK Junior World Champion in a Prema Racing and Mercedes Junior 1-2 with Anagnostiadis. A defining result in the Britain's young karting career after an at times testing FIA karting season. One of the most competitive OK Junior seasons in recent years had finished with a final that will live long in the memory.
Obviously, it was quite a hectic last couple of laps. I knew I was very fast in the wet round here. Obviously, it's one of my home tracks, so I was very confident going into the final race. But yeah, it still hasn't sunk in yet. I'm really happy with it. This is only my first year in OK Junior. Everyone else has been doing it for a couple of years now, and I just came into the class this year with no testing or expectations. So to be world champion in a class which I've only been doing in my rookie year, it's been amazing, yeah, it's unbelievable.
I wasn't too worried. We had a couple good heats in the dry yesterday, and also last weekend had a really good day in the wet. So I wasn't too stressed either if it was wet or dry. But yeah, obviously the first couple laps I was a bit nervous, having been my first World Championship and up the front, and sort of overdrove a bit, and then was able to come back at the end of the race.
We started to have him in end of 2022 in X30 Junior. As a team, it's our first year in OKG, so we achieved P5 on track, P3 at the end. So yeah, we are quite happy, super proud of him. We knew since last week or this week he's a Red Bull Junior drivers. So yeah, my brother was at the place of Kenzo in 2016. Philippe was there to take a picture, so today it's me. It's quite funny, and yeah, I wish him the best. And yeah, let's push next year with him again.
In the European Championship, it was always difficult to get a good result in the final, and obviously Van Langendonk was quite difficult to beat this year in the junior category. So we knew coming here, when we heard it also he moved up, we knew, okay, now we for sure have a good chance of winning. We knew that many of our drivers also being English would be good around PFI as well. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed how the last lap finished. We said they were free to race. I would have preferred that everyone crossed the line, but that's the way racing goes, unfortunately. And they both all did an amazing job. They were all very fast, and for that I can't thank them enough. So.
OK's 2024 season started with a display of dominance by Gabriel Gomez and CRG in Spain. Round 2 and cue the return to form of Joe Turney and Kart Republic in France with a near-perfect weekend. Thibaut Ramicas took her first senior FIA win for VDK Racing in Slovakia before Turney wrapped up the European Championship after 4 rounds in Sweden and headed into his home soil World Championships a clear favourite. Perfect through timed qualifying in all preceding heats, it seemed before the final nothing could stop Turney. Starting on pole, in wet conditions his form was strong in and cheered on by a large number of supporters. Ready to spoil the party with British wildcard Ethan Jeff Hall starting second, leading VDK driver Finn McLaughlin in third, and another wildcard, Matthew Higgins for Energy Course starting fourth. The stands were packed to see over 22 laps who would become the new world champion. For the third time across the categories, a potential frontrunner didn't make it round the formation laps. OK's faller, Scott Lindblom of Sweden. The start saw issues. For Matt Corby and Kai Rillarts, their World Championships finals were over in a flash, along with other issues for Davide Battaro. The early stages were all about survival. Gus Lawrence's world title bid on his home circuit was dashed coming off the Litchfield Bridge, along with the likes of Noah Wolf, Yuka Poe, Andy Consani and Lewis Gilbert. 8 drivers were out of contention by the end of the first lap. Turney led a British 1-2-3 from Jeff Hall and Higgins, McLaughlin close behind in fourth. There was not so good news for the Irishman's teammate Marcus Shilkunas, the next retirement on the second lap. David Cosma Christopher was bitten next by the worst conditions of 2024's World Championship, whilst Dries van Langendonk and Noah Montero tripped over each other in the Mike Wilson complex, but were able to continue. More retirements would follow, Suleiman Zanfari with a suspected technical problem, and Andrea Dupé out also at hairpin 2. A lot had happened, and it was only the opening 4 laps. Next to fall, the OK Junior European champion Dries van Langendonk. His quest for a unique in-season double of Junior European and Senior World title was over. Even the locals were being caught out by the torrential rain. Lincolnshire's own Lewis Wherrell out on lap 6. Jeff Hall found just enough grip to squeeze past Matthew Higgins for second place at the end of the 6th lap. Next job, closed down race leader Turney. With the track covered with water and strewn karts, even the experienced were struggling. Darren Walter of Denmark next to go, coming out from under the bridge. Lap 11 and a close moment for Jeff Hall. Pushing to catch Turney, he runs wide out of the Fullerton S's. Saved by the runoff, Turney's lead is now back to a second. Into the second half and more retirements, this time Salim Hanar for Prema Racing. Not long after, his teammate Alexander Bondurev's time in FIA Karting ended down a hairpin one on lap 15. Last year's European champion in OK Junior left to ponder what might have been. Timo Ramikers was left frustrated by the wet conditions, as he was in Kristianstad, losing out to both Miguel Costa and Guillaume Buzard. Back at the front, and Jeff Hall had brought the gap back down to 0.6 seconds behind Turney. But with the spray acting as a wall to Jeff Hall's progress, time for the CRG driver was running out. All he could do was keep applying the pressure. The retirements kept coming, and another big name, Portugal's Noah Monteiro, retired on lap 19. Seemingly in control, with Jeff Hall unable to break through the spray, Turney went into the final lap counting the corners down, 1 kilometre away from achieving his dream. A driver's error from the European champion, unlike any seen in 2024, put Turney wide through the banking. The corner that had claimed so many over the course of the finals had left its biggest scalp to the very end. With the roles reversed and no time for Turney to respond, Ethan Jeff Hall rounded the last few corners to see the checkered flag, and the moment where, in the most scarcely believable scene in 2024's FIA karting season, Ethan Jeff Hall became the world champion for the OK category in only his second ever FIA OK racing appearance. Becoming the 8th world champion from Great Britain in the Premier Direct Drive class, Ethan Jeff Hall repeats the home victory feat of Danny Curl in 2017. Joe Turney has to settle for second again, as he did in 2020, the last time the world title was won by a Brit. Matthew Higgins completes an all-British top 3 at PFI, ahead of Elias and Matviev. Contrasting emotions on the podium for the top 3 after one of the hardest races of their careers. In Higgins, the best result of the year for the Energy Course team. Turney, magnanimous in the toughest of defeats. And for Ethan Jeff Hall, a world title on the 60th anniversary of Guido Sala's pioneering triumph, becoming the latest driver to take karting's top prize in their home country. A season that had twists and turns at every venture, OK in 24 has pushed drivers and teams to the very limits, a testament to the strength and determination of all involved.
The conditions were really tricky. Obviously it was very wet, so there was a lot of spray. I managed to get up behind Joe, but every time I sort of got close, the spray was really bad, so I ended up making a mistake and falling back again. So it was sort of always trying to play catch up a little bit, and then obviously on the last lap Joe made a big enough mistake so I could capitalise on it and take the lead. Yeah, the team have done a fantastic job. Obviously they taught me everything I needed to know. We had a few mishaps at Kristianstad, and I sort of learnt from them, realised what I can do differently, and the team just prepared me in the best way possible.
The conditions were really difficult, really slippy, and yeah, difficult to hit your points and to get the kart stopped every lap. And yeah, I made a big mistake on the last lap, so that's obviously very hard to take after the weekend that we've had and the preparation and everything. But no, I think as a whole we can still be happy for the work we've done, and you know, we've missed out just right at the last. It couldn't really be any closer, but just at the end. But yeah, we can be happy as a team, as a group, for the work that we've done here this year and in the World Championship, because no, we had everyone at the front, and yeah, just missed out right at the end.
Coming into this event with very little experience in the class, and the team also, they haven't had many senior drivers this year, so they've also not been working with this tyre and engine package this season, so it's very difficult for them. But on the other hand, us drivers, I'm sure we can all agree, we don't enter a race without the intentions of winning or at least being on the podium. So for sure, I believe we could be here, but again, we also, yeah, I mean, not fully sunk in yet that we are third in the world at the minute, and yeah, so it's a difficult one.
This on top, better than this, yeah, it's difficult to beat. The feeling and all the work we've done up until this point, it's something else.
The 7-year wait for the FIA Karting World Championships to return to PF International did not disappoint. History made in OKN, with Kuyo Lee the first ever World Cup winner for South Africa and Beyond Racing team. In OK Junior, a wide open competition ended with Great Britain's Kenzo Craigie in first place. His biggest win to date, and yet another success story for the partnership of Kramer Racing and Kart Republic. The only question to be asked, what lies ahead for the Mercedes Junior driver's blossoming career? Whilst OK saw a surprise winner for a resurgent CRG, Ethan Jeffall fantastically stepping into the shoes of previous winners to bring victory to the Italian outfit and a first FIA World title in OK since 2016. With the World Championships finished for another year, the book closes on the story of OK 2024. Attentions will quickly turn to 2025 for all drivers present at PFI. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you again soon.